Hey, welcome back. It's Christmas Culture Club, and today we're talking about the hottest gifts of the season. I'm Julie.
I'm Steve. So, Julie, as of today, we're right around 40 days, less than 40 days by the time this comes out, until the big day. And we'll be just a little over a week from Thanksgiving and the big shopping day, Black Friday.
Is it going to be bigger than last year? Do we know? What do you think?
I wonder if with tariffs and some products and costs and what we went through with the government shutdown, if that'll suppress purchases. But I will say, there are a lot of people who will be frugal all year long, and then at Christmas time, boom. I
Yeah,
I never
all bets are
frugal, but
off.
Christmas time, yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see the stats. I mean, I don't love the concept of Black Friday, what it's become. I used to be a Black Friday shopper. When you had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you had to go sit in a store and you had to go hunt, and it was an experience with friends, family, whatever. I'd run into my dad at one store at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd run into my brother at another store at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was
Mhm.
fun. It was geeky. But now, like getting up and doing something on Amazon, and I especially do not like having anything to do on Thanksgiving. I don't want to shop on Thanksgiving. I don't
No,
like making people go work at a store on Thanksgiving. Like that's my own personal preference. The change to everything being online, it's less of an actual hunt, I think,
yeah.
and
Well,
I
it
miss
really
that.
takes away some of the fun, right?
Yes.
My I remember 2 quick stories. When I was a little kid, my mom and dad would go out on a Friday night a week or 2 before Christmas, and they get a babysitter for us, and they go out late. I'm talking 10 or 11 o'clock at night because back then, they do this weekend deal where a lot of stores that would normally close at 10 or 11 o'clock would be open all night. So people
Mhm.
would do this late night Christmas shopping, and they were usually crowded, and that's when mom and dad would go, Christmas shopping. The other quick story was, talking about Black Friday, 'cause I I mean, I never really it was insane. I would never go out shopping, but this one year when my sons were young, there was I don't remember what the toy was, but it was a real popular toy at the time, and there was a in the ad, the Wednesday ad that comes out before Black Friday, Toys R Us showed that they had these toys that the boys wanted. So we had family in from New York for the holiday, and we had Thanksgiving, and I went to bed early because I said, Toys R Us opens at 6 o'clock. I'm going to get up at 5:30, and I'll just go over, and I'll probably be one of the first people. So I got up. I got there like 10 till 6, and if there was one person in line, there were 150. It took me 2 hours to get into the store.
Hey, my mom won the lotto when we were kids and did the Cabbage Patch Dolls. I mean, she
Oh,
was those videos from, what was it, like probably 1984, maybe
mhm.
83, 84, where she successfully got 2 Cabbage Patch Dolls for us for Christmas, and that was like a big deal. We both still have those Cabbage Patch
Do
Dolls.
you
So
really?
yeah, it just tells you, like, there is impact in a gift. It may just be a thing. It may be an object, but that object, to especially children. And I mean, I think that's some of what we're going to focus, most of what we're going to focus on today, because
Yep.
Steve's got great intel on what kids are looking for. I put pegged some people in my world. We looked at a bunch of websites. We looked at all the lists, the Amazon book. I mean, I do miss the days of, the fun Toys R Us book or the Sears toy catalog coming out, and it would just be sitting there like calling you as a kid. And I don't know, now I get a shared note on my phone from my niece who she updates it like 5 times a year. Half the stuff I'm like, I don't know what the heck this is. So
How old is she?
she's 11, so she's the
So
one who's very keen, but it's very interesting because she's very dualistic. She's got still some kid stuff on there, but she's definitely turning the corner into, wanting more adult things. So it's pretty fascinating seeing her on that kind of edge.
he's not
So
at the point yet where it's, well, Aunt Julie, I really like cash.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. So do you give cash? Are you comfortable with that?
We don't really do a lot of gifts these days. I mean, we Shannon and I will exchange gifts. We have a gift list. Sometimes for us, like we're going to Disney at Christmas with her mom and dad, and so we'll probably just allocate money for one another, to buy down there. But my sons and their mom, my nephews, and Kara's kids, a lot of times we get them Christmas presents. but most of the time for my sons, it's cash because they're, their 30s. So it's cash and a gift, smaller gift. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way our world is these days. I miss the days of them being 5 and 7 and us staying up on Christmas Eve until 2 o'clock in the morning wrapping hundreds of gifts. It was insane. But
Yeah,
but
the
yeah.
present pile keeps getting smaller and smaller, but
Mhm.
I do love giving a good present, but it is weird. I am squeamish about getting presents. It's not something I enjoy. But, my philosophy has definitely changed to experiences. I would prefer to give an experience or something that is conducive to an experience, something that encourages a hobby, something outside your everyday life. Like that gets important to me. So, that's kind of my theory of gift giving. Like, what's yours?
Um, we for our nephews, again, Matt and Kara's kids, we do experiences with them for their birthdays. For Christmas, we tend to give gifts. Um, I I think I would prefer to give gifts, but these days, trying to get somebody to go, well, I want this or I'd like that. I mean, come October, Shannon she'll start sending me text messages like, "Ooh, isn't this nice? Ooh, isn't this nice?" Ooh. So I've got this running list, and then I go to Amazon. Do they have it there? No. Can I get it here? Can I? Okay.
You
But
are a
here's
good husband.
yeah, like, the old theory: if you give a person what they want, they'll be happy, right? As opposed to,
True.
here, honey, I knew you'd want this sweater, and they look at it and go, "Oh my lord." Um,
Well, I'm going to throw Ryan under the bus here, and he's heard this before. I love nothing more than cooking. I am a
mhm.
passionate cook. I love being in the kitchen. And he is like, I don't want to give you anything kitchen related. To me, it's kind of offensive. It's saying, like, this is where you should be. And I'm like, but it's what I love. It's what I
Well,
love.
but do you give them direction on? I specifically like this brand, this, because
I
I've
try
had
to.
yeah, I've had gifts from family and relatives sometimes. It's like, it's the, you know, Bobby Jones hot dog maker. And I'm like, really? I want this thing that just spins hot dogs? Yeah.
Hey,
So,
actually, so that's interesting because one of the popular things that I've seen on a bunch of lists this year is the Ninja Creamy. I've seen this on multiple people's
the
lists.
ice cream maker.
You know Yeah, and for me, it feels a little weird, but, like, it ticks a box for certain people, and, I've also seen it as, like, a smoothie maker, that it makes a
Mhm.
more smoothie like, a creamier smoothie, but, like, I think you and I cook a lot, like, I don't want set it and forget it, but I
Mhm.
this, I've seen it all over the place, and it is quite the popular item,
And it's quite expensive,
for
like $200.
yeah, I mean, it's not small, and, like, we have somebody in our life that, has issues with diabetes and has to be very cautious about what he eats, but he also
Mhm.
loves ice cream, so we
Mhm.
gave him an ice cream maker for a
Mhm.
monumental present, and we did the ice cream maker. The Cuisinart was the one that we did, so it's a small mini bowl maker. We did ice cream bowls, and then we did a waffle cone maker, and it
Oh,
allows that
cool.
person to make their own ice cream low sugar, and so
Mhm.
it's been well used, so that was
Nice.
kind of fun. So I
That's
get
great.
it along with, the concept of the creamy. So going into some of our lists. So I think I'm gonna
So
take most of the adults
most of
and
the adult,
then
and I'm gonna look at
you're
you
gonna hang
quizzically
in
because I
there.
was looking at your list. I'm like, what? What? Huh? So,
So I think one of the big things right now that I saw on a lot of lists, and as I'm looking at like all of the Christmas stuff, both web, print, everything, all the ads, there's a heavy pull to vintage, throwback
oh,
vintage, talking about childhood. So for us, it's an unsettled time. There's a lot going on. People feel really weird about the world around us. Let's throw it back to your childhood. I'm seeing a lot of games that are coming back. I'm seeing a lot of toys that are coming back. Go to eBay. I did this for years ago for my husband. He's a huge Emergency fan from the TV show from the 70s.
Oh
I
my
bought
god.
him Emergency the board game on eBay years ago, and, I mean, it was just a simple gift that I thought of, but made a huge impact because it also says, "Hey, I know you. Hey, I know what you're doing. I know what your passions are." So I think though that's a great thing to do, and you know what? Get out, go thrifting. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
expensive, you can find things in different places, but there's also new old out there, or old new, I forget how to put it, but, again, everything's being modeled to look vintage.
Right. We
Apple
have
iPods.
when you're talking about vintage, one of the cool things that's such an easy thing to do, especially if you've got a reader in your family, vintage
Mhm.
books.
Yes.
I love A Christmas Carol. It is my favorite Christmas story, maybe one of my favorite stories of all time.
No.
Yeah, we've talked about that, but 4 or 5 years ago, Shannon found a beautiful edition of Dickens' works, hardcover from 1932 or something like that, and
Mhm.
she bought it. She bought it from, a bookseller, and she had contacted this bookseller and told her what she wanted and asked her about it. The woman they talked with her. The woman enclosed a beautiful little handwritten note about how, this book meant to her, that even though it was on her shelf, it meant something to her, and she was glad it was going to someone who would care for it and love it. I won't read it. I won't actually read it because, it's almost 100 years old, but it's got a place on my shelf, and it
Yeah.
means the world to me. It's something that was, very touching. So vintage books, I think, are a great idea.
Well, so I just got back from Iceland, and the Icelandic Christmas tradition on Christmas Day is that you give new clothes and you give books,
Mm.
and everyone sits around, eats dinner, and reads books all day long. I think
Oh,
this
how
is
cool.
glorious. I'm a reader too, so
Mhm.
for me, I loved it. So I actually brought home here a book about Icelandic Christmas. I thought this was really fun. They have some very unique traditions, so we may have to cover it at some point, but it
Yeah,
was
sure.
super cool. But, like, how cool is that, that you give everyone a new book?
Mhm.
Last year for Christmas, I asked for banned books. Go out and buy banned books. I want to encourage the sales of banned books. It's a big thing that's going on. So, you know what? I got like 6 different banned books last year, and they sit on my shelf, and I love it.
And very quickly, by that you mean books that have been banned or
Mhm.
organizations want to ban. So,
Correct. Yeah,
not
yeah,
not
so
like
play
book by rock and roll.
sorry, no, no. Yeah, but, okay, so let's see, what else on some of the adult lists? AirPods seem to be really high up there.
Mhm. Always.
The new feature for the live translation has been really big, and I think, it's no secret I'm a traveler, so that's always a good thing to do is that you can do live translation. Portable chargers, another thing that's in the travel category. So they've changed the rules on planes as far as what size portable chargers, like power banks, that you can bring. So a lot of people have overly large power banks that you can no longer bring on planes. So it's a good kind of useful gift for people. Like, I don't want to give something to somebody that's not going to get used. So,
Also,
which,
portable storage. You can
yeah,
buy a terabyte of portable storage now for $30 or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
And I've had my son was talking about, "Yeah, I'm looking at my Christmas. If you wanna get it, I could use it." I went, "Feel okay."
Not the
So,
sexiest gift, but useful and something
yeah.
that everybody in our digital era, everybody can use,
Yep.
backup photos, things like that. So I think that's a great idea. Weighted vests,
What is
I don't
that?
know.
What do you mean by that?
It is a thing that menopausal, perimenopausal women are doing. So it's a vest that you wear when you walk, and it actually helps you burn additional calories. So it's just kind of one of those things that everyone can do, that I
Okay.
mean, I walk the dogs, you can throw on a weighted vest and suddenly you're burning 20% more calories. And it
Mm.
just is literally it looks like the harness to a backpack and you put it on and
I
20
know that there are a lot of people that will do they call it the military carry, where they
yeah,
will load a backpack
exactly.
20 pounds and carry that, so it's similar in style.
It's the same concept, it's just there's nothing on your back, so it's better for your body to carry it in that area. Camera bird feeders, super hot. This is one of those things that I've seen the whole gamut of people receive these. They're wireless, they have a camera in them. You can put them up, you connect them to Wi-Fi, and every time a bird comes to visit, you get a picture. I don't know, maybe it's a middle-aged thing, but people are suddenly becoming birders and, we're all looking for connections to nature, so I'm cool with that. So we talked about experiences, but so looking at like categories of gifts, things that I've had luck with that kind of in the realm of experiences, Broadway plays, concerts, things that we can do together, experiences, but also tying into the vintage legacy box, Kodak, give
Mhm.
somebody the gift of preserving their memories. We've done this for a couple different people in our world. And, we forget now all of the things, all the photos that we take live in the digital world. Well, we've got all these print photos that are degrading over time. So I think that's a good idea. Then, quince.com is a really cool website that does, I hate to say it, but they do well done alternative versions, I don't wanna say knockoffs, to some of the famous items out there. So Quince really does a good job and, like, they do an amazing cashmere sweater, they do cashmere lined gloves. Sometimes you need gifts for people that you don't know well, and it's kind of that general bucket of where you can get things. Loop earplugs, something that I've done a lot of. These are fantastic earplugs that you can get different versions of them if people, like, say you have a partner that snores. Loop makes a sleep earplug that's really comfortable to sleep in. You have a partner that goes to concerts a lot, like I do. Loop earplugs makes a really, really high quality earplug that preserves the audio experience, but just takes it
Mm.
down decibels. And they're 35 bucks. They come in a
Wow.
nice little package. Like they make a great stocking stuffer. Honestly, freaking love them. They're 100% awesome. Another thing that I found over the years that I love, I am a cold-footed person. I am always cold, always cold. Paca. Paca, Paca socks. These are made from alpaca, so they're not scratchy like wool. They do not frost, and they are just the warmest bloody things ever. I've given these to multiple people. I absolutely love them. The company has good ethics behind it, and they do a great job. So I've been really, really happy with them. Who doesn't love a fun hat, honestly? Hat and gloves, I mean, we live in cold climates, so those are always beneficial.
Yeah, and it's surprising how inexpensive a reasonably decent quality hat can be. And it
Yeah.
used to be when you bought a hat, like I'm a 7 and 3/8. I got a big head. But
Yeah.
in more ways than one, I'm told. Anyway, but it used to be you go in, you gotta buy the 7 and 3/8, that's your hat.
Mhm.
Now they've got some really nice hats where the interior has just got a little bit of give, so it might fit anyone from a 7 to a 7 and a quarter, 7 to a half, so
Mhm.
there's some flexibility. Yeah, I think hats are a great idea. What about consumables?
Oh, man. We have a lot of people that we give this to now, and I've been on the receiving end, both for jobs where I've been corporate gifted things, and I think there's some winners and there's some losers out there, so we're gonna focus on the winners. Zingerman's is a deli out of Ann Arbor, Michigan that has an amazing catalog.
Mm.
Everything that they ship is super top quality. They do some fantastic food boxes. They're famous for like their coffee cakes and kind of breakfast items, but they just do a wonderful job. One that I personally do is Hale Grove, which is a citrus grove out of Florida, and they have wonderful citrus boxes. So there's something about Christmas and citrus. I mean, it literally goes back to Dickens era and Victorian England
I got
as
an
far
orange
as
for Christmas, Daddy.
100%, it's a
Mhm.
treat, and it still is. Good citrus, you can't go wrong with, so
Yep. It's
I
interesting
really
too because as you're talking about those, um, one of the things that we listed were the Omaha steaks from Omaha Steak Company. Every year or two, my in-laws will give us a steak box. And it's a variety of steaks and all that. And it's funny how judicious I am when it comes to, I'll go out and buy steak, right? And I just cook it up. But I'm like, ooh, we're gonna get the Omaha hot dogs out. So,
yeah. Yeah.
but when it comes to boxes also, what I've seen this more and more over from traveling and all. Most moderate to large size cities, there is a company that will assemble a best of box and it will list the hometown favorites. I'm from Cincinnati. We've talked about that in past episodes. I was given from my son 2 years ago for Christmas. It was a gift box and it had like 6 or 7 hometown favorites. It had Husband's potato chips, Frisch's tartar sauce, Gouda, or Geta, depending on where you grew up in. Oh, it's the best
God love
breakfast
you.
ever. It had that in it. It had Skyline chili. It had all these different things. And because I grew up there, and even though I've not lived there for over 30, no, it was still warming to lift up and go, "Yeah, here's a taste of home." So I think those gift boxes are a great idea.
Well, it's that we all are hankering for touching our past in some way. I think that's really a driving factor of the Christmas season. I know it is for me, and I see it repeated constantly in talking to people about their memories of Christmas. So I think I know here in Chicago, there's a company called Goldbelly, and it seems like they're nationwide now that they will do gift boxes based on cities, or you can get unique food gifts from different restaurants across the country and
Mhm.
have it shipped. I mean, is it expensive? Yes, but it's something consumable. It's something that can be eaten and shared with others. Again, coming back to this experience, I don't necessarily want to give you a tchotchke that you're not going to use, that's going to sit on a shelf and just collect dust. I'd like to
Or
give
be
you something
regifted as a
that's
white elephant.
100%. Yeah, but, I think, like, I've shipped Giordano's pizzas. I've had Giordano's pizzas shipped to me when I lived on the other side of the country. I mean, when I lived in New Zealand, I my parents asked me what I wanted for Christmas when I was there, and I wanted our stuffing that we make for Thanksgiving sent to me, and that's
Oh,
what they did, and it meant the world, so
right.
it definitely is stuff like that. I love giving spice blends as well. So we have the Spice
Do you
House
make
here in
your own
Chicago.
or you go to Spice House?
Sometimes I have in the past, but I've typically bought them. So Penzies is an amazing spice company. And again, that I'm a cook and love nothing more than spending time in the kitchen. And good spices are basically the cornerstone of everything that I do in the kitchen. Penzies Spices, they do a beautiful packaging job. I mean, it looks phenomenal. It's easy. It's cost effective, truly. They're out of Southern Milwaukee, actually. We also have the Spice House here in Chicago that does all these great
Another great spice.
regional. Oh my God, I could go in there and drop so much money, but
Mhm.
it's fun to send. The I think I love the Greektown blend. I love the North Milwaukee blend to people that I know that have lived in Chicago and have moved elsewhere. So totally
Yeah,
cool.
they've got great quality for everything from simple basil. They have 6 or 7 different types of dried
Yeah,
basil, up to some really exotic stuff. They've got a Moroccan blend, so good.
really interesting.
Yeah, but if you've got a chef in your family who likes to cook and do some exotic things, Spice House, Penzies are both great.
Yeah.
And Penzies
Well,
got stores all over.
yeah. Yeah, and a great catalog. I mean, honestly, it's super easy. I do that a lot for weddings too.
Mm.
There's nothing better than starting out a life together with quality spices. I mean, it's cheesy, but they
As
have a
opposed to
wedding
getting
box
that spice rack that everybody gets for their wedding that's got like 22 spices that
when they're old.
10 years later have never been opened.
Oh, gross. But okay, so we're both passionate cooks. So let's talk
Yeah.
about I love making things.
Mhm.
That is the best gift that I can give to someone. And for me, I have a couple core things that I love gifting throughout over the years that I've done. So, pancake mix, I make a really wicked good pancake
Oh,
mix. I use
nice.
dried buttermilk. Hot cocoa. I have a phenomenal hot cocoa mix that
I'm putting my
I ship it
Christmas
on.
list together now for you, Julie, for what I want for
I
Christmas.
could do that. I could totally do that for you. But no, the hot cocoa mix is really good. I'm a baker. I mean, we've talked about this in the past. So I'll make cookie trays for people, give them over. Homemade vanilla. Super easy to make. It just takes time. I think our first real episode, we had actually talked about like it's time to start your homemade vanilla if you're making it. We tend to go to Mexico every couple years. So I'll buy good quality vanilla beans when I'm in Mexico and then actually come home and make my own vanilla. Limoncello. I know my brother or my sister-in-law's family has a family limoncello recipe that's been made on and off for years. And I've been the recipient of it a couple times and it's delicious. And when people take time to make something, it comes straight from the heart, it comes straight from their life and from their hands and it
Yeah.
matters. I mean, what do you like making?
Well, I don't years ago when I lived in Louisville, I took a really cool cooking class about making
Oh,
liqueurs,
cool.
and it taught you how to make gosh, we made, I think, um,
Probably Kahlua.
hazelnut, a lot of We made Kahlua, we made, Irish cream,
Mhm.
um, and so that for a couple years, I would make that and give bottles of that to friends. But I also, because it was not just making liqueurs, but we were cooking too. So we learned how to make a good cream-based or, Irish cream-based cake, cupcakes,
Mhm.
cake, icings, things of that nature. Um, we don't I don't generally give homemade foods, but and now that we don't drink, I don't really keep stuff like that away from, in the house. But
Mhm.
we made limoncello, and I think those are great, great gifts. But you could also, give a gift of a cooking class, for
Yes.
people that want to learn to cook. And they're not terribly expensive. I mean, they've got generalized ones that go on for weeks and weeks, but they'll have specialty ones where you might learn to cook Moroccan food for $95, things like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's a great idea, especially for people that they don't really need much. I think that's where you get into the sentimentality of it. If you know that they like my aunt, my mom's oldest sister, for for decades, every year, gosh, she would start these things in May or June or something like that, making honest to God amazing quality fruitcake. Because you cook them and you soak them with rum and you do that and they were 6 months old, but that's the process. Oh, I w I would kill for one of those. There's a really famous place called Gethsemane. It's a monastery, the Gethsemane monks, and they're famous for their fruitcakes. They make them and they sell them all over the world. They're amazing, and I think my aunt's was actually even better than theirs.
My grandmother loved fruitcake, and she didn't pass it on to the rest of us. Like, I don't know that I've ever had fruitcake where I was like, "Oh, I get it now." It's
Mhm.
always like, "Oh, this is gross and weird."
Well, I mean, a good fr you don't just sit there it's not like a piece of chocolate cake. You just you have a small slice of it, you have it with hot cocoa or tea or
Mm.
coffee, whatever your warm beverage of choice is, and you just savor it. A really good one is incredible. Um,
Yeah, I for Christmas years ago, I was making it's a chocolate apricot pecan tort, and it
ooh,
has a texture similar to a fruitcake, and it is better as it sits because it does have like a sugar syrup that you soak it in. And oh my God, I mean, I don't love traditional US cakes. Like I tend to like more European style cakes or unique flavor cakes. But that thing,
uh,
I may have to pull that recipe out again. I haven't made it in years, but that was a bloody good cake, and it was the
uh,
closest I've come to, like, a fruit cake where it had that denseness and, preserved fruits in it, but
mhm.
I don't know, what is mincemeat? I don't ever understand that.
Yeah, it's not meat. It's like,
Yeah,
isn't it
it's just
berries and
chopped.
nuts and chopped stuff?
Yeah, it's like glaseed fruits and everything like that, but, like, I made candied orange peel one year. I love orange and chocolate together, especially dark chocolate.
Yours?
And it's interesting 'cause it's a very traditional Jewish gift, and for
Okay.
Hanukkah, which I didn't realize at the time, and I had gifted it to somebody, and they came back and they were like, "This is the best we've ever had." So it would be fun to do that again, but, like, making candied orange peel is really good. I've always
Cool.
enjoyed it. But again, it takes time. Oh, one thing that I do make, and all my friends out there, plug your ears. I make a chocolate salami. So I had seen this recipe years ago, and it is a dark chocolate that you put cookies in, you put candies, fruits, nuts, pistachios, almonds. I'm trying to think of what I put in, cranberries, orange peel, and it's shaped like a salami, and it looks like you slice off a coin, and it looks like a piece of salami that it has, like, the pieces of fat and everything in it, but then you roll the outside in powdered sugar. So I haven't
Okay.
made it in a couple years, but I think it's making a
Interesting.
comeback this year. So,
Sounds like
but
fun.
it's a very traditional Italian handmade gift, or you can buy it in stores, and I just seen recipes for it and decided to have fun with it, and I made it and sent it to friends, and everybody was wowed by it, so it
Cool.
was good. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, so
All right.
alright, you take it away,
Let's move
let's
on
talk
to the
about kids.
the
Yeah,
fun
forget
stuff.
the
Let's get into
adults.
the kids.
Exactly.
I will n somebody asked me, because I was looking at or playing with a toy with somebody, said, "You ever gonna grow up?" Like, "Nope." So, kids, if I said to you, "Billy, a boo-boo," what would you do?
Say good
Have you
luck
heard of
finding
Labubu?
them. I have
Yeah.
heard of them. I do know how to pronounce it. I actually asked my nieces about what they want, what's hot, what their friends are talking about. I was told Labubu, but then I
Mhm.
was told that the Labubu craze is dying because nobody can find them and they're so bloody expensive.
Yeah, so the Boo Boo is a plush. They call them ugly cute or something of that nature.
Yeah.
They were created out of Hong Kong for a an animation or an anime kind of thing, and they just the show was popular, so they created these plush toys. They kind of look like elves, ugly elves.
Mm,
They've got huge eyes, big teeth, and kind of rabbit ears. Um,
mm.
they do them in different sizes, but they're collectible. They have everything from commons to rares. Um, and the way they've done this, much like collectible card games like Magic the Gathering and those types of games, they sell them in what's called a blind box. It's a package or a box that you can't see through. You don't know what you're getting. They sell for typically for most of them are like some of them are like $28 a piece. There are smaller ones I think are 10 to 12, but they're not cheap. They have some that are several $100s, but the collectability factor of them is such that I mean the most rare one sold on eBay recent in this past year for $10,500.
But is this a
So,
fad? Like, are kids playing with this? Like,
well,
what are they doing
yes.
with them?
So a lot of times, like at school, I'll see the kids. For those of you who don't know, I teach. You'll see kids with their backpack, and they'll have the keyring version of Labubu hanging from it. At least where I live, an hour west of Chicago, the kids are still going crazy for it, and they share them. It's so popular that there is a very, very, very popular knockoff called La Fufu. They look just like Labubu. I don't know how they've been able to do this without violating, trademark, copyright, all those things, but they're out there too. So, yeah, there are 300 variations on it, I think. So,
Wow.
so
I didn't
anyway,
realize there
if
were
you want
that
to look,
many.
yeah, if you are in a Target or any place that does carry them and you see them up there, grab them
Yeah.
because they are still going crazy. What about Squishmallows? You ever heard of a Squishmallow?
I do. I have a niece who is still like she could literally line the walls of her bedroom with squishmallows and she always wants more.
Hmm.
I I was not a stuffed animal kid. I mean, we had a giant polar bear that was like 5 feet tall. I had
So when your
dolls.
mom
I
asks
mean,
you
when I
which stubby do you want, you say you want a mixing bowls?
Yeah, you probably. I mean, truly. It's interesting to me to see so many kids. And we had friends come in from Germany last year, and I knew Squishmallows were huge, so I actually we had they had two little kids that were involved, and I knew that they needed some comforting, and coming to a completely foreign place. So I had fuzzy blankets on their beds, and I had Squishmallows for them so that they got to take home with them. So it was really cool to be able to see that and like give that comfort. Feel is such a thing in kids right now. They
Yep.
want to feel comforted. It's all about textures. It's very fascinating to me. But yes, I am aware of Squishmallows. So,
Yep. So the Squishmallows, the kids all call them squishies.
mhm.
We stumbled upon it because for um, again one of my nephew's birthdays a couple years ago, we were out shopping beforehand. We knew that he liked plushes, and we saw this thing, and it was really strange looking, but very very cute. And we went, "Oh, let's give it to him." We wrapped the. He opened it up and he goes, "You would have thought I gave him $1 million. It was the hit of the party. I mean, he's getting $50 game kits and all that, and this he held on to this thing for hours. And
Yeah.
I think it's still one of his favorite things. So,
And
yep,
that's
they're a
why we
plus.
keep on buying gifts. That
That's right.
that core
That
memory
look.
that the gift giver gets to
Mhm.
bring, gets to hold on to. I
Yep.
gave my nieces a karaoke machine for Christmas a couple years ago. It was the most evil gift and it was total payback to my brother and it was fantastic. And they loved it. My
The
brother
revenge.
hated me for it. It is like the best gift I ever gave.
That's so
That's why we still keep on coming back to this well of giving gifts. So,
sure.
anyway,
Well, anyway, but so Squishmallows they are reasonably affordable, a little bit easier to get. They start at around $5. They can go up to $40. There are several hundred variations on the different
mhm,
Squishmallows. They're at everything from animals to food, like a squishmallow broccoli, um, or, mythical creatures. There's a huge variety of them. Um, they can get limited editions, can get expensive. Some of them you get up to well over $100, but those are two really interesting collectibles. What do you think from a non-collectible perspective perennially continue to be top gifts that kids want at Christmas?
I don't know, like Legos comes to mind,
Bingo.
bikes, I don't know, you know?
Legos and Nerf.
Mm,
Nerf Nerf, especially the new Nerf shooters. So Legos have been a favorite they've been for more than 50 years. I mean, they first came out in 1949. They
mhm,
updated the way that they worked together in 1953.
ah,
They were originally called automatic building bricks. They became Lego bricks in 53, and then in 1958, the modern version that we know first came out.
okay.
Um, Here's a wild thing about Legos. There are at Christmas time, or yeah, during the holidays, there are approximately 7 to 8 Lego sets sold every second.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Comes out to
I love
1.5
that.
million sets, 1.5 million sets. And if you've
Wow.
ever been to Disney World down in the shopping area, Disney Springs, they have a Lego store. The thing is always packed, and you can go in there and actually buy individual pieces that you might be looking
Mhm.
for. It's massive. But Nerf's the hot tickets for Nerf right now are Minecraft, a Minecraft related Nerf set. It's the Minecraft bow, Arctic Zero Striker, which is a big one. It's a marksman's rifle, and then the Nerf N series. Those are really hot ticket items in Nerf.
Interesting. I one of my favorite Christmas memories, like, my nieces were really, really tiny babies at the time, so it was kinda that awkward in between where, you're opening presents and it's like, "Here's a sweater and a gift card or cash," type of thing. Like, the magic of Christmas wasn't there on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and I actually had bought every member of the family just a cheap little Nerf gun, and we
Hmm.
had a Nerf war. And we had such a blast. I mean, my entire family was sitting there shooting at each other, racing around the house, and it was just good, clean fun. I mean, it's not a BB gun, Red Ryder BB gun from Christmas Story type of thing, but it was close. So, one
Interesting
thing I
side
have
story.
go
Real quick,
ahead.
interesting side story on Nerf. One of my dearest friends in the world, he was in my wedding. We've known each other for more than 50 years. I love him. Hey, Freddie, if you're listening, he was one of the inventors of the Nerf gun sets. One of the
That's
early
cool.
inventors. He worked for Kenner at the time, and
Mhm.
it came up from them. The other thing is the Nerf football. The first Nerf was created by a retired NFL player who today I don't know if he's still alive, but today either he or his family still get over $500,000 in residuals every year from the Nerf football.
That's
So
awesome. There you go.
you were saying
Yeah.
something.
Oh, no. So one thing that I had suggested that I talked to a friend of mine who was a teacher for a long time and now works at a toy store is the RailCube magnetic monorail. She's seeing this at the toy store as being a really popular gift. And
Huh.
it's got endless permutations of what you can build with it. So it's basically a track set that has a monorail on it that will go. So you have to design the track that, it can be used. But it also comes with a coding book. So you can actually code based upon the color of the tracks. So it's
Oh,
kind of
wow.
a fun multi-step, it's been really popular. So could be a cool thing for people to check out that have kids in that age range. I'd say that this is like a 4 to 7, 4 to 9, maybe at most. But cool things that make you think, like I'm all about dualistic presents, that are I don't want to give somebody a screen necessarily for that age range. I mean, granted, we're going to talk about older kids
Yeah.
and what games are popular, so I think this is your lead in to do that.
Yep. And that's perfect because, you want kids to be active and all, but still game systems are amongst the most popular gift requests out there for not just little kids, big kids, adults. Game
Yeah.
systems are massive. The 3 primary systems, PlayStation 5 now, Nintendo Switch is huge, then Xbox, of course, always. So, in these systems, and the systems can range anywhere. I think the cheapest models are $250, but they'll go up to $600-700, depending on the system you get. Um, Most popular game consoles in the PS5, the most popular games are Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, and then EV Sports College Football 25, and always God of War. This particular version is God of War Ragnarok. And most of those run between 40 and $70.
You are literally
On
speaking a foreign language to me right now.
I will play. I'm used to the old Nintendo 64 where it's just you just move it around with your thumbs like this. Now it's like, the teen buttons, and they're flying through, and I'm going, this makes it go forward. Can I just get out my old Nintendo, whatever the first system, the eight, yeah,
Yeah.
eight, whatever it was. On the Switch, the super popular games for Switch are Mario Kart 8, Animal Crossing, still Animal Crossing. This was called New Horizon. Super Smash Brothers, Super Mario Odyssey, and then Zelda. Man, Legend of Zelda. I remember Legend of Zelda was my favorite game. I kicked butt in that thing. And we had the little Game Boys. I'd play it on that. It was great. This one's called Breath of the Wild. And again, game cartridges typically, or game, discs, the formats typically go between 50 and $60. Finally, on Xbox, if you ask any kid, I would originally have thought it would be male dominant, but it's not. You ask any kid between second and ninth grade what their favorite games are, and the first ones they'll talk about are Fortnite and
Hmm.
Minecraft. Fortnite, Call of Duty, Minecraft, and those are all available on Xbox. There's also a thing called Roblox, which is
Yes.
huge, and they also do Grand Theft Auto 5. They again, games cost between $20 to $70, 20 for the old classics that I guess are playable on the newer systems.
Hmm.
But one thing that Xbox does, they have a subscription series that for $10 a month, essentially, they've got a library of hundreds of games that you can play.
That's
You don't
cool.
want to, or if you want to test out a game first to see how much you like it, you can go on, play several games, and then go from there. So,
Interesting.
um, yeah, so they're big, but that also leads into the area of electronics. Um,
Hmm.
and there are a lot of mixed reactions to it, but one of the biggest things still in electronics are tablets. Parents getting their kids tablets, and tablets, they don't have to be terribly expensive. Like, you can get the Amazon Fire HD tablet for under $100. Um, but like the iPads and the Samsung, typically will start somewhere in the 200 to 300 to $400 range, depending on memory. Um, but those are still huge, and uh, it's an interesting. I read, I didn't record it, but there are over 200 million tablets in use in the United
Wow.
States alone. Just the United States. We only have 330 million people in our country. There are
That's
200
crazy.
million plus tablets. Here's one that's not it's electronic, but it's not a game. E-scooters.
Yes.
E-scooters are
Huge.
huge, and they're fairly affordable. I mean, $100 or more, but prices between 102 or $300. Um, Kids love them. So,
Mobility,
if you
you know,
mhm,
gives you your freedom to get around.
without having to actually push with your feet.
Headphones, that's a big one
Mhm,
that all of the kids in my world are always requesting, and big kids, little kids, doesn't matter. Again, I travel a lot for work. Everybody wears headphones all the time. So I think
mhm,
that's a great, potential. And there's always something new coming out. There's always some new improvement. Beat series seems to be universal. They're expensive, but again, everyone loves them.
yeah, and with the headphones with kids, a lot of times it seems to be like, Beats are decent, but there are better headphones out there for comparable price.
Hmm.
But Beats is the one. I think it's a prestige thing. I got my
It's
Beats,
the brand
I'm like,
name. Yeah,
Beats.
exactly.
Digital and instant print cameras are big. You know, the cheap little you load a cartridge and it prints out a little those are huge. But digital cameras, there was a first grade teacher at one of the schools where I teach, and she had a digital camera, and every day a different kid after lunch would get picked, and their job was to take pictures around the classroom, and then she would load it to they had a like a classroom account that she would load it to the parents so the parents could see what was going on in the classrooms, and then she'd play for the kids the next day for the kids to see all the fun pictures that the kid was taking. But they're huge.
Well, on that front too, so I love that idea, and I didn't mention this earlier, Aura frames. I love digital picture frames.
Yeah.
We all take so many pictures. I just got back from Iceland. I took easily 1,000 pictures.
Mhm.
We have a digital picture frame that we were sitting on the plane yesterday and actually sending photos to the digital picture frame. I get to
Neat.
see them. It doesn't just die on my phone, it doesn't
Mhm.
just die on social media. We've given them as gifts to several members of our family, and it's nice because I can also send photos to their frames. "Hey, I took a cute picture of your son today," you know? And it gives
Mhm.
this connection. So, number 1 allows memories to come to life off of our phones. Number 2 allows connections amongst families. So, I really like that
Sure.
idea of digital picture frames and digital photo or digital cameras. I mean, I saw a lot of that. People don't necessarily always wanna have their phone in their face because you're gonna
Yeah.
get distracted by something that's on your phone. So, having a digital
Yeah.
camera allows you to interact just with what you're trying to take a picture of. So, alright,
Mhm.
back to kids.
One
More.
one of the cool things, and that will maneuver into this, one of the cool things that's happened as a result, I think, of COVID, are family board game nights. Back 10, 15 years ago, board games were kind of dying, but they've
Yep.
become huge again. So board games have once again, they're an incredibly popular Christmas gift.
Mhm.
There's a game called Sanctuary, which is apparently the hot game this year. It's a cooperative strategy game, but it's a tile game where you lay tiles and play this strategy game. And you design a zoo. You're building a zoo. A game called Jungo, which is a card game. Sanctuary runs about $60. Jungo, lesser expensive, is only $16. And it's based on a Japanese game called Hachi Train. It's supposed to be really, really fast paced, easy to learn, and a game that you can play for hours. Nunatak, I think is how it's pronounced.
Mhm.
Nunatak. It's a winter themed race game that your goal is to build an ice temple before the frost closes in on you. It's $40 MSRP, but you can usually find it for less than 30. One I see a lot on Facebook, and I'm really tempted by it's called Uzzle or the Uzzle,
Okay.
Uzzle. It's 50 to $60. It's a puzzle game that just looks intriguing the way it works. And then one that we bought a couple years ago, it's called Ticket to Ride. It's a fun game. It's a little complicated, so I don't think I'd recommend it for kids under 8 or 9, maybe 7 or 8. But it's a really cool strategy game where you compete to build essentially a railroad, a railway. You're trying to lay track to create a rail line, and you're competing against other people who are also doing it, and you're stealing things and blocking people. It's really, really cool.
I started playing the digital version of that. There is a great app
A
version
digital
of it.
range? Do you
Yeah,
play it
so it
against other people or against
you
the
can play it
computer?
against other people, or you can play it against people you know. So I
Mm.
started doing that during COVID, that I had a couple people that we all downloaded the app and would say, "Hey, let's play." And we had a blast with it. It's one of my, like, time waster games that's on my phone, so I don't have a lot of them. I'm not a huge game player on my phone, but that's one of them. So,
And
yeah.
it's interesting about that one, it's still super popular. It costs about 40 to $50. There are some sets because there are variations on sets that can be up to $90. Um, and then you can get expansions to those
Mhm,
games for like $25 a piece. But I was talking with this about a friend, and they actually found a complete set at I think it was Salvation Army. They were making a donation, and they happened to
mhm,
go in. They were looking at the book sections to see what books they had, and they
mhm.
saw the game there. And it was like, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, what do you think? Can you tell me what the top 5 selling board games continue to be?
I mean, does this include, like, Settlers of Catan? I feel like that's a popular one, like,
It
are we
does,
talking
but it's not.
Monopoly, or are we talking
Monopoly's number
classics like Trivial
most of
Pursuit,
them,
Risk?
the top 5 are all classics. Still,
Still? Really? Interesting. I did not know that, so alright, so what are they the top 5?
Monopoly,
Mhm,
always, I've got a quiz question about that. Scrabble, Clue, and a lot of these there are variations, there are probably like 500 variations on Monopoly. Scrabble, Clue, Risk, my favorite game of
mhm.
all time, and if you ever wanna win Risk, start in Australia. Trivial Pursuit and Trouble. Trouble's a fun game. I
Interesting.
play that with the kids at school a lot of time when we have inside recess and
Mhm.
we got board games that kids love to play Trouble. It's a fun
Yeah.
game.
I have a ton of friends that are playing board games, and I mean, I have friends that are playing dominoes, that's
I
just
love
every
dominoes.
night they play dominoes. That's how they wind down every night. Lots of cribbage, lots of euchre. It's just there's
Mhm.
something about number one, doing something like gets your brain going. Number two, it's not a screen, so I just really like this. I like this as a connection point.
Yeah, we had friends that last weekend because we were planning our spring trip back in May down the East Coast. And we sat playing an interesting card game. I'll have to ask them if it's got a name. It's a card game just using regular cards, but we play euchre with
Mhm.
them. And there's a really cool dice game. I forget what it's called that we play with family a lot. But yeah, I mean, just sitting around talking and playing games. It's
I
wonderful.
think the theme that we've seen is just connection. Everybody is looking
Mhm.
for connection. Everyone is looking for something that makes people feel comfortable, connected, happiness, tactile. I think those are the themes that I'm seeing within like all the hot gifts that we were looking at. Lots of skincare. There's too much to even get into. I mean, that's a huge
Right.
category, both for kids and adults. I mean, kids, girls, preteens, teens, skincare is it. You kind of can't go wrong with that. But
Right.
anyway, all right,
This
do your
question.
quiz.
We talked about the board game. And in the US, Monopoly is a top selling board game. What is the top selling board game globally?
I mean, is it Monopoly too? I feel like it's a universal thing.
Trick question. It is Monopoly.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the least. I mean, honestly.
So, but since it was introduced in 1935, there have been 275 million copies
Oh
sold.
my god,
I
that's
think we own
crazy.
130 million. You've got all the fun variations. You've got, there's a Lord of the Rings Monopoly. There's, so many
Mhm.
variations. All right. Second quiz question. How many copies of Monopoly are sold annually?
I mean, if there's what did you say, 275 million copies that are already
Mhm.
in circulation? I mean,
What?
how many people are still buying Monopoly? How many babies are born each year? It's gotta be, I don't know, 500,000.
3.4 million copies of
What?
Monopoly sold
Are people
every
throwing
year.
out Monopoly every year and going and buying a new one?
Well, with all the different sets and it's like Risk. I had 7 variations on Risk. I still have the original wood set. I
Yeah.
had the original wood set. I don't know what happened to it. It got lost, and I started playing with my sons and playing with friends. We used to have once a month, my friends and I would get together and play Risk. And I wanted the original wood set. I got it on eBay for like $70, but I've got I think I gave each of my sons a set this past year because I was cleaning out the closet. I think I still had 3 or 4 different sets of Risk.
All
So,
right, I don't have wrists, so I think you need to give me a set. So,
give you a set of Risk. All right.
yeah. No, I
I'll be
love
my
playing
white
games.
elephant to you.
There you
Just
go. I
remember,
love it.
always start with Australia. Don't get greedy too soon. Build, become the horde. Resistance is futile.
All right. Well,
All
what's going
right, before
on?
we go,
So,
what's coming up next?
next one is going to be Christmas music, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to get into the meat of Christmas season. We're going to talk about terrible Christmas music. Sure, there's some good stuff in there, but we're going to talk about those earworms that, like, where do you stand on Mariah Carey? I know here in Chicago, it was a big deal. People apparently bet on when our radio station switches over to all Christmas music, and it happened a week and a half ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know who won money on that one, but apparently it was early this year. It was like the day after day after Halloween, I believe.
Mhm,
And people can't get enough of it. I was in Iceland. They were playing Christmas music everywhere. And it was a lot of
mhm.
American Christmas music, but there was actually some Icelandic Christmas music. So it was pretty interesting to hear. But it was interesting thinking about it being in a European country. They have no Thanksgiving, so Christmas starts. Like the Salzburg Christmas market opens today, I believe it is. I have a friend of mine who lives in England. Her son opened the Newcastle Christmas market last night as part of a choir. I mean, how cute is that? So Christmas season is here. We may not be ready for it yet in the United States, or at least some people aren't, maybe 52% of the population, but it's coming. I saw a lot of Christmas lights on when we were flying into Chicago last night. I love
I
watching
see 'em
Christmas
too
lights from
now.
the air.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's definitely coming, and it's nice weather right now, so I think people are putting them up early while we have a chance. So, it's good stuff. Yeah, so we'll
Alright.
see you in a week. We'll talk about the good, bad, and the ugly Christmas music, and we'll interact with us on Facebook. We wanna know what is your most loved and most hated Christmas music, so we'll put that up as a question.
If you've enjoyed the episode, I know this one also ran long. We're getting longer as we go along. If you like it, please subscribe, please hit like, and as Julie said, leave a comment. We appreciate you being with us.
So till next week, it's Christmas Culture Club signing off.
Take care.